Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So, if you love discovering how deeply rooted traditions can survive and even thrive in our fast paced global market, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're looking at a super fascinating case study, Kabayan Weaving Arts and Crafts. This is a brilliant example of a heritage brand that is currently standing squarely at a crossroads. I mean, how does a business built on slow, meticulous, ancestral artisanship navigate the hyper competitive, digitized modern world without losing its soul? We are going to break down their exact strategies, the unique bottlenecks they face, and the path forward for this incredible enterprise.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to cover four main things today. First, the authentic weaving heritage. Second, the modern threats and bottlenecks they're facing. Third, opportunities for cultural growth. And finally, a blueprint for the future.
So, Section 1, the authentic weaving heritage, a legacy built thread by thread.
Now, what's really interesting here is the founding date, 1993. I mean, this isn't some trendy pop-up shop trying to cash in on a recent fad, right? Kabayan Weaving Arts and Crafts is literally a pillar of Benguet tradition, over 3 decades in operation. That means they have weathered economic roller coasters, changing consumer habits, and immense local changes, all while keeping those traditional looms running. That kind of staying power, it's a massive strength for any business.
And honestly, that staying power comes straight from the top. The founder, Maxiencia Pili, while she isn't just a business owner, she's actually been awarded the title of Living Cultural Master by the National Commission for Culture. Think about how prestigious that is. It takes the company's story from just a standard bio to a credential of absolute national importance. When people buy from Kabayan, they aren't just getting a piece of fabric, they're buying a certified piece of history from a literal master of the craft. Talk about unbeatable cultural credibility.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that cultural authenticity translates directly into real-world demand. They're not just selling to their immediate neighbors up in the mountains. We're talking traditional attire, blankets, and souvenirs being shipped out domestically to Cebu, Palawan, and as far north as Batanes. But get this, they've got serious international traction too, with orders rolling in from Japan, Canada, and all the way in London. Plus, they've got the steady stream of institutional demand from schools and government agencies who need conference kits and native attire. It's a heavily validated product line for sure.
But time marches on, and leadership has to evolve. Currently, a next-generation family member who actually has overseas business and marketing exposure is stepping up to lead operations. This is such a great generational storytelling moment. It's the perfect bridge, really. You take that foundational authenticity built by a living cultural master, and you pair it with the modern digital savvy of the next generation. It's exactly the kind of transition a heritage brand needs if it wants to scale.
Which brings us to a super important number, 4. Right now, there are 4 college graduates working as part-time weavers for the business. Now, you might be wondering, why highlight the number 4? Well, because one of the absolute biggest hurdles for heritage crafts is getting young people involved. This proves Kabayan can actually attract vital, educated, younger talent to sit at the looms. It shows that the younger generation still sees real value and viability in this ancestral art form. All right, moving on to Section 2, modern threats and bottlenecks. Basically, the friction of the modern world.
Because things aren't all smooth sailing. On one hand, you've got authentic hand weaving. It's culturally rich, absolutely, but it's slow. It's highly manual. That creates some severe bottlenecks when it comes to production capacity. When a huge order comes in, it often just outpaces what the weavers can physically make. And on the flip side, mass-produced synthetics. We're talking cheap polypropylene ropes and machine-made, quote-unquote, ethnic-style products that completely undercut authentic goods on price. This threat is so intense that processing traditional materials like maguey and sisal fiber actually became obsolete home industries in towns like Bocod and Kabayan. They were totally wiped out by cheaper synthetic substitutes. So the pressure is immense.
Let's break down exactly where they're vulnerable. Internally, the biggest headache is an aging weaver base. Sure, they have those 4 college grads, but the founding generation is aging out. Without a bigger influx of youth, these specialized techniques could literally disappear in a generation. Add in the geographic remoteness of the Kabayan Mountains, which spikes shipping and logistics costs, and a pretty limited digital footprint, and scaling becomes incredibly tough. Then, externally, you've got imitation products diluting the market. Plus, being up in the mountains makes them highly vulnerable. I mean, the 1990 earthquake literally cut off their roads, and more recently, COVID-19 totally halted their overseas operations. They are highly exposed to both natural disasters and global shocks.
Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds into opportunities for cultural growth. discovering new avenues for tradition.
So, despite those very real threats, the brand is perfectly positioned for 4 distinct growth areas. First up, Cordillera tourism is booming, especially around Baguio and Benguet. That creates an amazing opening for tourism-linked retail and hands-on weaving workshops. Second, those institutional supply contracts we mentioned, they can totally formalize and expand those relationships with schools and government offices. Third, the wedding and gifting token market. People love customized premium heritage items for big events. And fourth, the overseas Filipino diaspora. That is a massive, eager market just waiting to be tapped through targeted e-commerce.
But to actually capitalize on all of this, they need more hands on the looms. And Maxentia Pili's stated vision for this is just so powerful. She wants weaving centers near universities. This isn't just a corporate strategy, it's a deeply personal human desire to make sure her life's work survives. By setting up shop near academic hubs, the brand can tackle that aging workforce bottleneck head-on by actively teaching these skills to the next generation of students. Which brings us to Section 4, a blueprint for the future, strategies for survival and scale.
So, the crucial point is how they actually pull this off. We've got a 5-step battle plan here. Step 1, execute a digital marketing push. Even just a vibrant Instagram or Shopee store with behind-the-scenes content could directly connect them to tourists and diaspora buyers. Step 2, formalize that succession plan. They need to make the founder's vision real by teaming up with TESDA or local universities to create official apprenticeships. Step 3, diversify the product line. By offering lower-cost items, think pouches or face masks in traditional patterns, they can reach way more people without overloading their weavers with massive garment orders. Step 4, lean hard into that Living Cultural Master certification on all their tags and packaging. It totally justifies premium pricing for eco-conscious and heritage buyers. And Step 5, leverage their location. Kabayan already draws crowds to the famous Kabayan mummies and burial caves. Setting up live weaving demos right there, that converts tourist foot traffic directly into sales. Now, to fuel this entire blueprint, they're going to need a financial runway. They should be aggressively going after government SME support, specifically applying for funding and export help through the Department of Trade and Industry's One Town, One Product, or OTOP programs. Securing that kind of backing provides the exact trade fair sponsorships and capital they need to actually launch these big digital and export expansions. All right, so we've covered the rich history, the stark challenges, and a really clear strategic path forward for Kabayan weaving arts and crafts. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this to chew on. How do we balance scaling a business with preserving the authentic soul of our heritage? It is arguably the ultimate puzzle for any traditional artisan trying to make it in today's digital age. Because efficiency almost always demands compromise, right? But in heritage crafts, the slow, painstaking, authentic process is literally what makes the product valuable in the first place. Definitely something to think about the next time you come across traditional goods in the global market. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.